Welcome to our studios at First Star Logistics. We are talking 2021 Bengals schedule, and what a schedule it is. 5 of the last 6 first picks of the draft, including Joe Burrow, will be playing in this schedule. The last 3 MVPs, all at the quarterback position. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson are all on this schedule. The first 2/3 of the schedule, the Bengals hit a stretch in the middle third where they have a bunch of road games, 4 out of 6, including the bye week. 4 out of 5 games, 4 out of 6 weeks, including the bye week, they're on the road. If they can survive that stretch, they finish the schedule with 5 out of 6 games at home. 2 out of the last 3 games are division opponents, which is what they want to do from a tiebreaker standpoint. We'll get into all that as you tune in to our analysis of the schedule.
We're in the trenches at the First Star Logistics Studios. Dave Lapham in charge. But we're going to talk Bengals schedule with Dave because here a few days ago, they had the big announcement. And as Dave has told us many times, just announcing the schedule in the NFL now has become a major television event or social media event for NFL teams. And, you know, with the Bengals schedule, Dave, let's get right to it. Minnesota Vikings are going to be coming to Cincinnati to open the season. And I have a feeling that the news that we got earlier this week as we recorded this was Joe Burrow is expected to be ready. So everyone's excited for game 1.
Yeah, everyone's excited for game 1. And Joe Burrow is anticipating being under center for game 1. And when you look at it, 5 of the last 6 first picks of the draft are going to be playing on the schedule. Joe Burrow, of course, being one of them. But you've also got Jared Goff, was the first pick of the 2016 draft. 2017, Myles Garrett, first pick of the draft, Cleveland Browns defensive end. He'll be playing with Baker Mayfield in the first pick of the draft with the Cleveland Browns in 2018. In 2020, it was Joe Burrow. And, of course, in 2021 is Trevor Lawrence. So 5 of the last 6 first picks of their respective drafts will be participating in games at Paul Brown Stadium. And also, the last 3 MVPs will be in Paul Brown Stadium, home games at Paul Brown Stadium. Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, and, of course, the legendary Patrick Mahomes. So we're talking some really good football players. We're talking some serious quarterbacks on the schedule this year for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Thoughts real quick, opening with the Minnesota Vikings at home. Basically, that's going to be a Fox television game, 1:00 kickoff scheduled. And is this a team that the Bengals fans should be excited about as far as the first game of the season?
Yeah, I think the Mike Zimmer, Paul Guenther is returned with Mike Zimmer. Both of those guys will be on the coaching staff. Mike Zimmer, of course, put together some of the best defenses here in the recent history of the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's a defensive-oriented guy. How will the Bengals offense be able to adapt and adjust to what the Vikings will be presenting? Because obviously they're going to be bringing it defensively. There's no question about it. Chicago Bears come to town. Who will be quarterback and head football team?
Woo.
Will it be Justin Fields? I mean, if it is, that'll be an interesting dynamic. Or will it be Andy Dalton? Maybe an even more interesting dynamic as he returns to Paul Brown Stadium. Or excuse me, the Bengals play up there in Chicago against the Chicago Bears on the lake and all that wind and potential rain and everything else. Could be ugly, could be great up there weather-wise.
I think Dan Horton's even talked about that weekend because I think the UC Bearcats are going to be playing Notre Dame that weekend, if I remember correctly. And he's talking about, hey, people, take advantage of getting some great football action up in the South Bend area and then jump over to Chicago for that Bears game. And you brought it up. Andy Dalton possibly could be the starting quarterback. I mean, all signs, what the Bears are saying right now is he's the starter. But as we know, the pressure of signing, of a first-round draft pick at quarterback, there's a lot of pressure to get that young man on the field and Justin Fields.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how Andy Dalton plays. I do think that Andy, if he plays at the level he can play at, he might be tough to knock out of the box there early on, but we shall see. Justin Fields is a dynamic guy with the way he can run as well as throw the football. There's no doubt about it. Then you have a big division tilt. Go to Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger. Ben's Ben. Ben has owned the Cincinnati Bengals. There's no question about it. And Pittsburgh's a tough place to play. That's not an easy task for the Bengals. The Bengals have the sixth toughest schedule in the National Football League. The team that has the toughest schedule based on last year's winning percentage, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Dave, give fans an insight. How hard is it to go to Pittsburgh and play?
Yeah, I mean, they have so much tradition, so much history there. The fans are as vocal and boisterous as anywhere in the National Football League. It's a huge home field advantage. You know, the crowd noise is definitely a big factor. The Pittsburgh Steelers totally believe in defending their home turf. I think they play at an even higher level in Pittsburgh. But they're very professional about it. I mean, it's not like they diminish greatly on the road, but man, you know, when you go to Pittsburgh, you're getting a snootful.
Dave, you mentioned Trevor Lawrence, also kind of a homecoming. Urban Meyer, gone to the University of Cincinnati. Jacksonville Jaguars will come to Paul Brown Stadium. And, I mean, how exciting. This is two teams that have kind of struggled. There's reasons why. Urban Meyer was hired as a Jaguars coach. What should fans expect out of this game?
Yeah, I think you got two football teams that have turned their roster over dramatically. The Bengals have turned it over big time in the last couple of years in free agency and the drafts. You know, under the guidance of what Duke Tobin and what the Bengals organization want to try to do. They've gotten a lot younger. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly they can put it together. And Urban Meyer had a bunch of salary cap space. He had the first pick of the draft. He knew he was getting Trevor Lawrence. Thought if you're going to get back to the National Football League and you want to try to mold a team in the image that you prefer, this is a great opportunity for him. So he's turned over the Jacksonville Jaguars roster quite a bit as well. And will Tim Tebow be on the roster as a tight end? I doubt it. I really doubt it. But that's big buzz right now down there in Jacksonville.
But let's kind of talk a little bit about Tim Tebow, what he means if he is on the roster to the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tim Tebow, obviously, the personality, the human being, you know, he's about as good a human being, I think, as you would want. Urban Meyer believes in Tim Tebow and believes in not only him as a football player, probably believes in him more. The intangibles that he brings off the football field to the locker room. But honestly, he's going to have some sort of a role as a player for that to have an impact. Players follow teammates that are good players. And if you have a teammate, that's why when the Bengals have had good teams, a la the Anthony Munoz era, our best player was the greatest human being, not only the greatest tackle of all time, in my opinion, one of the greatest human beings of all time. So when your best players are your best people, that's when you can have something special.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
All right, we talk about drama. There is drama in Green Bay. There is still talk Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. There's even talk that he may be a Raider before it's all said and done. But let's assume that as of right now, Aaron Rodgers is still a member of the Packers, and the excitement that the Packers will bring into Paul Brown Stadium in Week 5.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is special. The last time he was here in Cincinnati, the Bengals beat the Packers. But I remember a game up there in Green Bay. He rolled to his left, threw the ball back across his body, about 55 yards down the field with pinpoint accuracy. Nobody throws the ball into tighter windows with more accuracy than Aaron Rodgers. I mean, watching him warm up on the football field is just a sight to behold. So if you can go down there and to Paul Brown Stadium along the river there and watch Aaron Rodgers perform, I think it's money well spent if he is in Green Bay. If he's in Denver, you're going to have some issues. The Raiders, you're going to have to travel out to Las Vegas to watch him play because he won't be. The Bengals play the Raiders out there.
Week 6, the Bengals will travel to Detroit to take on the Lions. Bengals fans, this is where I think people will be talking about, should we have drafted Penny Sewell?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what will Penei Sewell be doing, and what will Jamar Chase be doing at that point in time. There'll be a few games into their NFL career, and this is a stretch of 4 road games in a 6-week time frame here. It starts with this football game against Detroit. 3 road games in a row: Detroit, Baltimore, the New York Jets. And they play Cleveland in Cincinnati, and they have a bye. And then they're on the road again to Las Vegas. So this, in my mind, is a critical stretch, starting with the Detroit Lions on the road, and then the Ravens, a division rival on the road, tough place to play against a very, very tough opponent. Lamar Jackson has owned the Bengals. There's no question about it. And so this is where the rubber meets the road in a lot of ways for me with these road games. Here we go, 3rd one in a row against the New York Jets with their rookie quarterback potentially in Wilson. What's going to happen there? They get the Cleveland Browns after this in Cincinnati. Baker Mayfield comes to town. And then they get the bye after this, the battle, another division rival, the Battle for Ohio Part 1. They have the bye week, and then they travel out to Las Vegas and take on John Gruden. And who will be at quarterback? Whoever it is, it will be a guy that John Gruden wants at quarterback, and John Gruden is about as bright an offensive mind as there is in football.
How important, a little bit different, being in Vegas as compared to Oakland. How important is the bye week as far as you have a swing more towards the West Coast?
Yeah, and I think again, fortunately, the road games aren't difficult travel. You're talking a hop, skip, and a jump to Detroit and to Baltimore and to New York. I mean, it's not gruesome, grueling road trips, but 3 straight games on the road. Then you have a division rival. Then you have the bye to heal up, and you got to go play a team that wants to be physical and play that type of football game with a significant road trip that involves a time change that the Bengals will have to deal with. So, how many days do you go out early? How do you travel? I have a feeling that they'll probably travel out there the day before the game against the Las Vegas Raiders and make some adjustments and let it ride.
Bengals will return to Paul Brown Stadium, take on the Steelers. Will this be the last time Bengals fans will see Ben Roethlisberger at Paul Brown Stadium?
Yeah, that's a $1 million question right there. The last time the Pittsburgh Steelers were in Cincinnati, it didn't go all that well for them. That's when the Bengals decided to run the football, and they had a great quarterback run package in that football game and beat the Steelers on a nationally televised football game. And really shocked them. There's no question about it. So will it be the swan song for Big Ben? But as we said before, I think Ben's like 28-7 or something like that against the Cincinnati Bengals in his career. He loves playing in the state of Ohio. When he was at Miami of Ohio, he was undefeated his senior year. He owns the Browns in Ohio. He owns the Bengals in Ohio. It's crazy. Ben Roethlisberger in Ohio, being born in Findlay, Ohio, he loves the state of Ohio.
Then it brings in the Chargers and a battle of 2 of the top quarterbacks from the previous draft class.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, threw for over 30 touchdown passes. I think he surprised a lot of people. They thought the transition from what he ran collegiately offensively with the Oregon Ducks would take him a little bit of time to adjust to the National Football League. Boy, he proved people wrong. The Bengals coaching staff had him down at the Senior Bowl, and he was the most outstanding player at the Senior Bowl. He was voted that based on practices as much as game performance. So he showed himself well down there. Bengals coaches were very high on him, and he produced, he performed. So it'll be very interesting. The first 2 quarterbacks taken in not this past year's draft, but the draft before, Joe Burrow and Herbert. Who's going to play better?
49ers will come to Paul Brown Stadium. Always an interesting matchup when the 49ers come, because a lot of times they come into Cincinnati and everyone expects the Niners to walk away with a win. Bengals always play them tough.
Will it be Jimmy G? Will it be Trey Lance at this point in the season? Who's going to be quarterback in that football team? That one's going to be interesting as well. And I think that's really the only biggest question mark. I think the 49ers, in their offensive and defensive line, they have multiple first-round draft picks in their front 7. Their defensive line's all first-round draft picks. I think that they are built to win and be a Super Bowl contender, depending on the level of play at the quarterback position. So it'll be very interesting to see who that quarterback will be at that stage of the season.
Back on the road to Denver to take on the Broncos.
And the Broncos, their only missing ingredient is a quarterback as well. I mean, they're trying to develop a young quarterback. Aaron Rodgers' talk includes the Denver Broncos as a potential trade partner. So there's some uncertainty at that position out there in Mile High. But everywhere else, that's a pretty darn good football team as well. It'll be interesting to see what the Denver Broncos are like. And now we're into the stage where you have 5 home games in 6 weeks. Pittsburgh, the Chargers, the 49ers, 3 straight home games. On the road to Denver, then you come back, you play Baltimore, and then Kansas City at home. So 5 out of 6 weeks at home to finish up the season. Pretty favorable for the Bengals if they're in the hunt to say, let's finish this off and let's do it at Paul Brown Stadium.
Not easy opponents. If the Bengals are in the playoff hunt, have the Ravens and then the Chiefs, not an easy task.
You have the league now with tiebreakers and everything. Division opponents are always on the tail end of the schedule for every team because that's the most significant tiebreaker scenario. So here with Cincinnati, 2 out of the last 3 games of division opponents. The one that's not is the perennial power Super Bowl contender Kansas City Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes. So Baltimore comes to Cincinnati, Kansas City comes to Cincinnati. Again, you've got MVPs, Jackson, Mahomes, and then the Cleveland Browns up in Cleveland have to go up there on the lake. And a lot of people are saying Cleveland's a Super Bowl contender. Will they be? Or will the Bengals be in the playoff hunt and have to knock off the Cleveland Browns to get into the playoffs? Very, very interesting finish down the stretch of the schedule for the Bengals, but favorable in terms of playing a lot of games, 5 games in a 6-week span at Paul Brown Stadium.
There you have it. Dave Lapham's thoughts on the 2021 Cincinnati Bengals schedule, how it play out. We'll see. Stay tuned to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham because he's had some great guests. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel and also look for us on wherever you get your podcast.